As you can see, looking away, even briefly, is almost like driving blind. Much can happen, and much can go wrong.
Yeah, an important part of Eyes Up is to actively search for places where trouble might be lurking. Identifying anything requiring your attention for which you might need to change your speed, steer your vehicle, or communicate. So you look down here, we've got a bicycle. Over here we got some pedestrians. We got some, that's a railroad crossing. A car ahead, a car way ahead. Lots of stuff to look at there. Okay, what's important to look at and what's not important to look at? Many things compete for a driver's attention. It can be difficult to keep focused on those things that could affect your speed or position. Here's an exercise to test your observation skills. In the next video, over about 30 seconds, different colored words will appear on the screen. Count only the red words. Mark your answer in the space on page 10 of your student workbook. Ready?
Be louder than that. I can't count them. Is there browns in there?
How many did you get?
12.
11.
Lose
What was the
12.
12?
Oh, I thought there was one up there in the red.
That red press button, I know, they didn't count that, and that's technically red, so I'm gonna change the number on that, because there's a couple of them on the red sign. What about behind the words? What did you see in the background? There was a lot going on. Did you notice the police traffic stop? The person cleaning the vehicle, traffic signal through rain-covered windshield, driver adjusting the head restraint, vehicle front turn signal, dark car in a parking lot with orange cones, safety belt being fastened. Sometimes we can become so focused on the one thing we miss something else. This is another example of how our brains are wired to focus on one thing at a time. We must develop the habit of constantly searching so we don't focus on any one thing too long. It also provides further confirmation that while doing something else while attempting to drive, like using a phone, is extremely risky. This exercise demonstrates the difference between looking and seeing. And I also think it's kind of tricky because they don't tell you that. They tell you to look for the red words. But that's just my opinion. Inattentional blindness occurs when a driver fails to notice an unexpected event. A driver might miss seeing a motorcyclist nearby. The driver does not expect to see a motorcyclist if a driver does not see motorcyclists on a regular basis. As a result, they may be more likely to miss seeing them even when they look directly at them. Seeing to the sides and behind, there are technology that can help you manage your space to the sides. But it's always important to make sure your donut is complete.
The lane change warning system or side blind zone warning system can help a driver avoid a lane change crash. When the system detects a vehicle in your vehicle blind zone, an icon in the side mirror will light up, whether the turn signal is on or not. When the vehicle turn signal is on, and the system camera detects a vehicle in the blind zone, the driver may feel a vibration in the steering wheel, driver's seat, or hear an audible alarm. All this to warn them of the vehicle in their blind zone. The blind zone alert system may not work if a faster vehicle approaching your vehicle from the rear was not in the system's blind zone while the turn signal was on. Also, the system may not see a smaller vehicle, motorcycle, or bicycle in your vehicle's blind zone. The system is not guaranteed to work in all cases. If the system is not alarming while your vehicle turn signal is on, don't automatically make your lane change. It is still 100% your responsibility as the driver to check all mirrors and make sure you do a quick glance over your shoulder before you make the lane change to see if a smaller vehicle or motorcycle might be next to you, possibly undetected by the blind zone warning system. Safe and efficient lane-changing merging skills take time and practice to perfect. Here are a couple of areas to be aware of. Always use your turn signal. This lets other drivers know your lane change or merging intentions. If another driver sees your turn signal and feels they are in your blind zone, they may sound their horn to let you know. This also applies in reverse. If you see a turn signal light up and you happen to be in the signaling vehicle's blind zone, you can sound the horn to alert the other driver, but please, not in an aggressive way. Make sure you always do an over-the-shoulder look or glance when making a lane change, whether using blind zone warning technology or not. Never drive in another vehicle's blind zone for longer than you have to. Go past them or slow down, but don't just ride next to them.
Thank you.
Note, always make sure you know how to adjust your side mirrors. Most drivers do not have their vehicle side mirrors adjusted correctly, which creates much larger vehicle blind zones. A lane change warning system can be a useful reminder to a driver. An alarm may sound if a vehicle is in your vehicle blind spot, but never choose to let an alarm be your only indication that it may be okay or not okay to make a safe lane change. You, as the driver, are always responsible for safe lane changes, not the lane departure warning system.
Enhanced mirror settings, changing lanes is when the technique is when the technique can really be of value, like setting your mirrors like we talked about before. If you have a blind spot warning system, use it. Use your eyes as the primary way and let the system back you up. If you need it, to be sure to read about it in your owner's, if you don't know, read about it in your owner's manual. Seeing to the sides and behind. Seeing behind. Tap your brakes to alert fallen drivers of an impending stop. Flashing your brake lights can help catch the attention of distracted drivers. I see some cars already have that built into them now, that it looks like a tap 6. Rear view cameras. Drivers are provided this view through the video screens located in the center of the dash or in the rear view mirror. We have some of those. And there's also some that come from above, which is crazy. These vehicles use multiple cameras around the vehicle, forward, rear, and side. And a computer combines the views, and a single image is projected on the vehicle's infotainment system. I don't have that.
The new buses.
A rear vision or backup camera provides an image on a vehicle infotainment system display. In a small number of vehicles, you may see the backup camera display within the rear view mirror. The backup camera view is a fixed view. It cannot see cross traffic or anything underneath the bumper or outside its limited vision. While using a backup camera, a driver should do multiple checks during the backup process and should never pick up their vehicle with only the use of the rear view camera.
I've become very reliant on that. Rear view camera systems required on vehicles built on or after May of 2018. Most of the time the cameras will be clear. As you can see, it only takes one drop of water to almost block it completely and render it useless. So wipe your sensors. Nobody's vision is perfect. Never assume we see everything. A lot of in that picture. So now we have a read the road. Are we ready? We know how to do this. It's going to show you a picture and tell me what's in it.
Open truck in the back, open truck,
Construction on the right.
Pedestrian.
car on the right, pedestrian crossing.
And he's blocking the turn signal, or, yeah, the signals. Is it green? Is it red? Is it,
No.
you know,
That could be the crosswalks signal.
yeah, lots of.
Well, it
them.
says see a street, so.
All right. To close out this chapter, we'll take a short chapter assessment. You know the drill, bottom of page 11, got a couple of grids there, don't know where they go, don't know where they belong. They put a lot of extra grids in there, I don't know if they wanted us to add to it or what. The PDA loop drivers use to analyze information from a traffic scene is passing, decrease, aim, perceive, decide, act, perceive, detect, assess, perceive, detect, add. What do you think?
B.
It is B. Number 2, looking and seeing are the same thing. False. False. The faster a person drives, the more broad, selective, narrow, or reliable their field of vision becomes.
Yeah.
Narrow.
Narrow. 4, a vehicle equipped with a backup camera means a driver need not look behind when in reverse gear. Is false. 5, as you search ahead as you drive, you're unable to detect objects to the sides of your vehicle. False. It's called what? Peripheral vision. Okay, end of chapter. Okay,
You're right.
you did good, include that. Okay. We're on 5. All right, if you need to stand up, move around.
My back hurts. My brain hurts.
We're gonna fly through this as quick as possible so we can get done. We've got 8 modules to go through and we're on 5, so we've got 3 left. Okay, managing speed in space. Let's go ahead and get started with the assessment, chapter assessment. Questions are at the, answer at the top of page 12, 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, black and white regulatory speed signs show A, how fast you may drive in any conditions, B, how fast you may drive at night, C, maximum safe speed, D, how fast you may drive in ideal conditions.
C.
It would be D.
Oh, darn it.
2, driving at reasonable prudent speeds means honoring the basic speed law, common sense travel law, rule of the road law, skid avoidance law. Basic speed law. We haven't done that yet, so tricked you on that. In clear, dry conditions, you should follow at least blank behind a vehicle ahead. 1 vehicle length for every 10 miles per hour, 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds.
C.
See? Or D?
3 to 4.
Oh,
They need to change it in the book.
yeah.
They need to change it in the book.
What
But
book?
the driving book, it wasn't at 15 to 20 seconds?
Well, what book?
Like, the driving was.
That is that's looking ahead, 15 seconds, 12 to 15. Following is that one
I know, but
1,000
the
too.
12 to 15 or whatever, they said it was 20 to 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
In this, that's why I'm saying, like, in the actual training driving book, it's different than it's on.
You
Well-
have to show it to me and I'll,
Well, Maze is like different, our thing is 15, 12.
well, and
15.
this vehicles versus buses, I don't know. Yeah, show me the difference and we'll make the
I swore it was
adjustments.
different, but I could be wrong.
Didn't it used to be A though?
No, it might have been. They're doing subtle changes in there, making you guess. Speed is complex, speed affects your safety, the safety of other road users. That means it's on you if anything goes wrong. You decide how fast do you drive. When it comes to posted speed limits, they apply under ideal driving conditions. Clear, dry, well-lighted, and freely moving traffic. There are 3 factors. What is the right speed for right now? There's 3 factors that help you determine that. You can answer that on the page 12 in the middle of the page. Speed selection factors. What determines a safe driving speed? First is visibility. A is visibility. The distance ahead that you can see along your projected path of travel. Your field of view helps you determine a reasonable and prudent speed. B is traction. What reduces traction on the roadway? Inclement weather, snow and ice, wet roads. And C is space, the amount of space around you or your donut. Those are your 3 determining factors for your speed. Example, 2 lanes taper down to 1 lane under the railroad tracks. The surface of the sides of that section of single lane are very hard, no room at all to maneuver to the side. Is another vehicle approaching from the other side? Is it snowing, which means traction is reduced because of the water? Even if it's not yet frozen on the road surface, what should you do?
Slow down.
Slow down.
Many drivers simply set their speed to match the speed limit and leave it at that. But choosing an appropriate speed is actually more complicated, with 3 additional factors that you should be taking into account at all times. The first is your visibility, or how well you can see the traffic scene around you. In conditions like these, or fog or snow, even driving the speed limit would be too fast. If you can't see at least 4 to 5 seconds ahead of you, you're gonna have trouble stopping in time to avoid something in your path. The second factor is your traction, or how much grip your tires have on the road. Your tires will have their most grip on dry pavement, but wet pavement can reduce your tire's grip by as much as 1/3. In these conditions, you should reduce your speed by about that amount to have the same amount of traction you would have on dry roads. The third factor is how many other road users are around you. The more traffic and other road users around you, the more you must lower your speed to be able to respond to sudden hazards and keep enough space around you.
So your basic speed law is drive at a reasonable and prudent speed for the road conditions. What's reasonable and prudent? Provides a safe path to travel, provides time and space if an emergency develops. Stopping distance measured along the football field on page 12. You got a 40-mile-an-hour car and a 60-mile-an-hour car. Draw a line extending from the left side of the right to the right of the field. If you have chosen to travel at 40 miles an hour and then brake as hard as you can, you travel about 22 yards before coming to a stop. That's 66 feet. If you choose to drive at 60 miles an hour instead of 40 miles an hour, that is an increase of speed of 20 miles an hour or 50%. Doubling the speed or increase by 100% would mean that you would be traveling at 80 miles an hour. If you start braking from 60 miles per hour, you'll travel about 50 yards before coming to a stop. That's 150 feet. So increasing the speed 50% from 40 to 60 means that your stopping distance will be increased by way more than 50%. The speed you choose affects the injuries to you and others involved in the crash. More speed, more potential damage to the bodies of occupants. From 40 to 56 miles an hour, it's a major amount of damage. This one's the crazy one. Watch his knees at that 56 miles an hour.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy? Scary thing.
what needs?
I know.
Fell off.
Oh, sorry. Mouse is in the wrong spot. Oh,
They just didn't know if we had other students on that van and they couldn't see what van, so.
Billy, 157.
I'll let them know.
Yeah, thank you. The fourth collision is where the loose items in the vehicle fly forward. That is a full-size heavy box television where the front passenger was. It slammed forward when the vehicle crashed. Secure your stuff so it does not become a projectile in a crash. That is an old television. Nobody probably even has those anymore.
I have one,
You have one?
yes, and it still works.
It still works. Oh my gosh. On page 13, we'll be working on a grid marked A on the right side of the page. Which of these situations would it make sense to drive at or reduce speeds? We're just gonna pop through this real quick because there's one, you wouldn't reduce your speed on 1. You wouldn't reduce your speed on 4. You wouldn't reduce your speed on 7 or 8 or 9. Well, I don't know, a 9, well, that's not flashing, is it? It's icy road, I'd be slowing down. No, I'm a good driver. 11, probably wouldn't reduce your speed on 11, but everything else that's flashing there for you, you would be marking with an X or circling your number. Ready to move on? All right, managing the speed in front of you. How much space should you keep between me and a vehicle ahead? Here we go. On page 13 of your student workbook, what is an appropriate following distance? Please write your answer in the white double arrow.
With a
between-
car or with a bus?
Well, it looks like there's 2 cars there. It
Right.
says 3 to
6.
4 seconds.
Full car lane.
Establishing a safe following distance in clear driving conditions at least 2 to 4 seconds behind any vehicle. And how do you know that? It's gonna tell you how you do
Space
that.
gives you time to respond, as well as the distance you'll need to take action if you need to. It's hard to do something if you have enough space around you. So always aim to keep a huge amount of space around you, like your own personal donut, with you in the middle. And if someone moves into your space cushion, or takes a bite out of your donut, simply bake it again, or regain that space. Not keeping enough space around them is one of the most common errors drivers make. And that's especially true with space to the front. In clear, dry conditions, you should maintain at least 3 to 4 seconds of following distance between your vehicle and any vehicle ahead of you. To maintain a 3 to 4 second following distance, simply use landmarks along the road as your guide. For example, there's a sign ahead. When the vehicle ahead passes the sign, start counting out loud. 1001, 1002, 1003. If you reach the sign before you count to 3 or 4, you're too close. Drop back, find another landmark, and count again.
Anybody do that?
I do.
I do too. I'm kind of a driving nerd. I do that. It's hard to hit anything ahead when you're keeping plenty of space in front of you. Is there technology that can help you manage your space to the front? Of course, it's called adaptive cruise control. When the vehicle approaches a slower vehicle or the vehicle ahead begins to slow, a camera or radar sensor detects the closing gap, and the system automatically is designed to reduce speed to maintain the preset distance between the vehicles. If the vehicle ahead then accelerates, the ACC automatically increases speed up to the preset speed while maintaining the preset gap. They say you can change that. If you know where it is in the manual, you can change it in your vehicle, that gap between, on your cruise control. The name adaptive cruise control is a general term. Not every vehicle manufacturer calls their system adaptive cruise control. Some examples of proprietary names vehicle manufacturers use to label their version is Auto Cruise, SafeSense P, Dynamic Radar Cruise Control, All Speed Tracking Function, Predictive Cruise Control, Dystonic, Intelligent Cruise Control with Distant Control Assist. But only about half of those names make it clear that it has anything to do with cruise control or managing the space to the front of the vehicle. Let's see another example of this. On page 12 of your student workbook, you have a type of product box at the top of page 12. What product do these manufacturers' names refer to? What is it?
I've never heard of those.
They all refer to one type of
Shoes?
product.
Shoes?
Huh? Who said that?
Gym shoes?
How did you know that?
Jolt and one other one on there
Really?
I was familiar with.
Yeah, that's what you write in there, shoes. The type of product is shoes. Vehicle electronic names do not always describe their function, so do your research before purchasing a specific vehicle. Read your owner's manual. Managing space to the sides and the rear.
On any road, you should have one car width of space to at least one side of your vehicle at all times. When practical, it's better to have this much space on both sides of your car. That's because even though modern cars can stop quickly, there isn't always enough room to stop before hitting something ahead of you. Steering into a space on either side of you can be more effective as long as you kept the space to your sides open. If you're blocked on one side by another vehicle, that space is not available to you, and your options are reduced. How do you establish space to one or both sides of your vehicle? It's easy. Briefly easing up on the accelerator pedal is all it takes to add a car length's worth of open space to the side. This will help you maintain your donut of space all around your vehicle. Having open space both to the front and sides gives you a lot of room to maneuver and to stay out of trouble. Like space to the front, plenty of space to the sides makes for a good friend on the road.
Lane departure warnings, lane keeping assist, and lane centering. These are several systems that we have access to now.
Lane departure warning may provide you with a lane departure alarm if it senses your vehicle is crossing a detected lane marking without a turn signal. This alarm or warning may appear as an icon on your vehicle dash, vibrate the driver's seat, or sound an audible alarm. It could do all three. The use of a turn signal tells the system you want to do a lane change, and it will not alarm. Lane keep assist adds on to lane departure warning in some vehicles. If the system detects lane markings and senses your vehicle is departing your lane with no turn signal, lane departure assist will try to steer your vehicle back into the lane. You can always override the system with steering pressure. Drivers using this system need to pay attention to driving at all times because the system may not provide enough steering to bring your vehicle back into your lane before a crash happens. These systems only work within certain speed ranges. Please know the speed range for your vehicle. If the system does not detect any lane markings, or if the lane markings are not clear, it will not work. The system may not work during poor weather such as snow, rain, or if the sun shines directly into the system's camera or sensor. The system may not detect road edges or lanes on winding or hilly roads. If the road only has markings on one side, then the system only has a chance to work on the side of the road with the markings. The system will try to keep your vehicle towards the middle of the lane. Always be ready to take control of the vehicle yourself to move it to the left side of the lane or the right side of the lane, depending on the traffic situation. There is no guarantee the system will work in all instances, and the system is not recommended for use while pulling a trailer. Lane departure warning is a tool designed to help a driver stay lane centered. You now know there is no guarantee lane departure warning technology will work at all times, and only has a chance to work between certain speeds, as is clearly stated in your owner's manual. This technology is unfortunately being abused by many drivers, as they choose to rely on the technology 100% and completely stop paying attention to their driving. Lane departure warning technology should be used with care and full attention to driving. It is not lane departure warning. It is you, the driver, who is responsible for the control of your vehicle at all times.
Can that be turned off?
On our vehicles, it's at the end of the little arm thing. There's a little button, and that works on my car too, so you turn it off, because it does drive you crazy if you're not used to it. Yours may look like this. With any technology, be sure to read your owner's manual. This is a tight and risky situation. You got a narrow lane, you got two cars coming from both sides. A lot could go wrong here. Each driver has a choice when you arrive and pass through the narrowest part. Read the road ahead. Which one is you? Do you speed up or slow down? Which is just a simple reduction in speed. You will have reduced your risk. Are you the speed up kind or are you the slow down kind?
Slow down.
Good, because you're professional drivers. Dealing with one risk at a time is called separating. That's on page 13, right under the cars, where you wrote 3 to 4 seconds. It's called separating. Space to the rear. Which space around your vehicle is the most difficult to control? It is the space to the rear, like tailgating. Tailgating is now actually considered a bullying behavior, trying to push a driver to go faster than they choose to go, possibly causing a rear end collision. There are technologies to safely respond, there are techniques, not technologies, to safely respond when you're being tailgated. How can you encourage a tailgater to pass you? Maybe slowing gradually and moving to either the right side of your lane or even to the shoulder if it's safe to do so. What should you avoid doing? Tapping your brakes, hitting your brakes, making hand gestures, that kind of thing. Yeah. All right, we gotta read the road here. You know what to do. It's gonna do a countdown and then tell me what you see. All right, what did you see?
Truck.
Still doing light.
Traffic
Semi.
light that was currently green.
It's currently green. Very good. Very good. All right, we got a green light up here. We got big trucks on the other side. Wet road, approaching a signalized intersection. Space is tight. Not sure what the oncoming truck is doing. Is it going to turn? If he is he going to get you with his tail swing? Things to anticipate. All right, chapter assessment on 5. Here we go. You know what to do. The answers are at the bottom of the page. You answer the questions. Each time a driver increases their speed by 10 miles per hour, the person's chance of dying in a crash remain about the same. Double, go down, depending on the weather. B. It would be B. Double. 2, the area around a vehicle most difficult for a driver to control its space is behind to the driver's side, ahead to the driver's side. B. It is A, behind. 3, in ideal conditions, the least amount of space a driver should maintain behind a car is 1 length for every 10 miles per hour. So you can see pavement under the rear tires, 2 to 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds, and it is 3 to 4 seconds. 4, adaptive cruise control, ACC technology, is a reliable, fail-safe system for managing space ahead. That would be false. That would be B. And 5, blank can help you handle driving risks one at a time. C, separating, compromising, customizing, summarizing, separating is the answer. Okay. All right, moving on 6. Well, this is the fun one. This is alcohol and drugs.
You got some good example? I don't believe you, let me see.
Who said that? Somebody write that one down.